So remember why you march. Remember why you fight against injustice, because injustice is not about one police department. So thank you to the NYPD. Thank you to the New Jersey, New York Port Authority for closing down the bridge and facilitating the opportunity for us to get into New Jersey. Thank you guys very much for that. Please help me welcome one of our New York City Council members, Andy King.
Brothers and sisters, good morning.
Good morning.
You heard my colleague Michael Blake say, no justice,
No peace.
One thing about justice, when you keep fighting for it, you eventually have some peace.
Hello.
I want to say to the Supremes, yeah, that's Tamika, Carmen, and Linda. You ladies have done a marvelous job in putting us together to making sure that America remembers the voices of the young. I always remind people, I'm young myself, but I always remind people that when the Civil Rights Movement started, and that bus boycott that started in Montgomery, started in Alabama, and they asked Dr. King to lead the charge, he was only 26. So I want people to get confused that you gotta be 35, that you can't be 30, you can't be 20 to be active. You have to participate because, as I say, people pay attention to people who participate. Washington will be paying attention as our young brothers and sisters have taken this torch to march to Washington to fight for the things that we need to accomplish. In this great country of America, which I love, but I want us not to be remiss that this country was built on a racial divide. And if racism and bigotry and discrimination didn't exist, we wouldn't have to march down highways. We wouldn't have to hold signs. We wouldn't have to stand on corners. We wouldn't have to yell and scream and fight and preach for the things that we know that we should have. So I'm grateful for all of you who are marching. I will join you across as far as my knees will let me go. But I want everyone to remember that when you get to Washington, your voices will be heard. You heard that there is a message, because I was asked, what is so significant on this march compared to the other marches? Well, you know what? You're going to talk to the people who have the power to make change. And we need those individuals to understand that, you know, I remind you, we need them to understand that because racism isn't dead, doesn't mean that those who participate in that type of activity cannot change. John Lewis, Congressman John Lewis still exists fighting for that change. Congressman John Conyers still fighting for that change. But then on the other hand, there are still those brothers and those sisters who can't get it right, who they were fighting when they were 25, were still 80s now, who are still fighting. If they weren't fighting, we wouldn't hear the words "you lie" when the president is speaking. So we want to make sure that we uncover to recover America, the great America that we hope that it shall and can be. So I say to you, the Supremes, and everyone from 1199, President Gresham, everyone that's out here today that's fighting for change, who's marching for change, the Lord will be watching over you. The Lord will be guiding you. For those of you who witnessed this historic moment, send your prayers up. Feed somebody. Shake a hand. Offer a beverage. Make sure our young people get there. And whatever you do, make sure that you support, 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 and show love. I want to say thank you again. I'm your friend, your marcher, and to the Supremes, I'm waiting for the next song that's going to come out from you three. God bless. March on to victory!
Thank you so much, Councilmember King. Next up is a man that I consider to be a personal friend of mine, a man who speaks truth to power all the time, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Please help me welcome to the stage Councilmember from Brooklyn, Jumaane Williams.
What's up, everybody? I feel like a march. Where's Councilmember Debbie Rose? I saw her somewhere. I wanted to give her a shout out. Councilmember Debbie Rose. And all my colleagues, this is an exciting day. The sun is out. That's what's up. So unfortunately, a couple of my colleagues that I actually consider friends in the political world wrote something in one of the articles asking why we're here, suggesting that there's nothing important enough to shut down the outer bridge crossings. And I want to say to them, Black Lives Matter.
That's right.
When I read what they said, it made me feel like Black Lives Matter perhaps not enough for them. Your words, I want you to understand, mean something. And when you said that, it made me seem like you don't think black people being shot down unarmed like animals means nothing and means not enough to shut down the Outer Bridge Park crossings. You made me feel like I meant nothing to you. And I understood that the people who are dying don't look like you and your constituents, but perhaps you should care anyway, because these are Americans that are dying.
That's right. That's right.
It was unfortunate because they said, don't pay them any attention because all they want to do is attention and start trouble. Well, we want you to pay attention.
That's right.
Because the change won't happen if people like you keep espousing these things that I believe have hidden racism in them. It was hurtful that you didn't see your colleague as a human being. It was hurtful when I read those words. They said, well, we're going to continue with our Blue Lives Matter. As if us being here somehow means we're against the police. When we're not. Stop making people decide between supporting our police who risk their lives every single day and us saying that Black Lives Matter, and don't shoot us down unarmed. Those two things can and will continue to be discussed simultaneously. And if you were a true leader, you'd be here with us, making sure the conversation happens in a way that's not destructive but constructive. The message that you have sent will make people feel like we're doing something wrong, but we're not. We are in the best vein of America, pushing back on a construct that is saying that people are not equal, but we know that we are. Unfortunately, it never happens without a fight. It never happens without a march. It never happens without people standing up. And that's what we're doing today, and that's what we'll continue to do, because the people from the past generation, they got the world tarnished. They got America tarnished, and they marched with that world and made it just a little bit brighter. And they said it's not finished yet, and they handed it off to us, and then we got it a little bit tarnished. But I hear the people in the next generation saying, don't forget about us. Can you hear them? They're saying, don't forget about us. Please keep marching. Please bring that world just a little bit better than you found it. And today we're saying we can't. We will not let you down. On we go, baby.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
In every dark sky, you look for the star. And here on Staten Island, we have a star that gives us hope.
No question.
A woman who is able to prove that you can win by the will of the people. And it is my privilege and honor to introduce to you our star on Staten Island, Councilwoman Deb Rose.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for standing up and saying that enough is enough.
That's right.
You know, I was really upset, and I'm glad that Jamani addressed the response from my Staten Island colleagues about this march. Every march that has been planned here on Staten Island has been peaceful, and people have expressed what is their right to express. And they've kept in the forefront the fact that justice has been denied.
Right.
And that justice seems to be elusive on Staten Island. And so to turn this march into something that's almost equivalent to the Edmund Pettus Bridge. They didn't want them to march over that bridge. They did not want them to go and tell their stories and to get justice. The only difference with what we're doing here today and then was we were fighting for voting rights then, and now we're fighting for our basic human rights now. You know, there are alternatives to the traffic if someone really needs to get over the bridge. But there is no alternative to the justice that we have been denied. And so I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking this message. This is the civil rights movement of our time.
That's right.
The fact that equality, equity, and justice hasn't been achieved yet is important. You know, and I don't understand why people want to say that because we want to stand up and fight for civil rights, for the common decency, to live by the constitutional rights that we were given, why they want to turn that into an anti-police response. It is not. It is about our lives. It is about our safety. It's about being able to live in our communities. I want to, again, I just can't say enough how courageous this is of you. And that with all change is a struggle. And we've struggled, but we've struggled too long. And it's now time that we get the message across. Enough is enough. We need to have real change. I thank you. I'm just like overwhelmed. I don't know much more to say. And it's really hard to follow Jumaane Williams. It is really hard to follow Jumaane Williams. But I just want you to remember, you know, that Martin Luther King said, the arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. That's right. And so we are moving in that direction. And I think you'll see that this is the beginning of our arc. We are going to go, we're going to finish this march, and we're going to get what our communities, what our children, what our relatives deserve. I just want to thank you all again for being here.
Thank you, Councilwoman.